right, so Unit 3 is going to be on photosynthesis. And we remember photosynthesis from middle school is how plants get their food from the sunlight. And if we want to look real quick, you can watch this on your own and I encourage you, but this is a forest in Utah that is made up of 47,000 different trees. But that's actually not completely accurate because it's actually really 47,000 stems of one plant. All of these stems share the same root system and they are genetically identical by cloning, and that's how this tree reproduces. So this organism, this one organism, this forest, is about 80,000 years old. So it is the oldest living thing on Earth that we know of. And because it's one organism and made up of these 47,000 different stems, it is also the oldest living thing that we know. So how did it get that big? Well, it got that big from photosynthesis. So let's talk about that. So the goal of photosynthesis is to take the energy from the sun and convert it into a stable food source. So the main product of photosynthesis is glucose. And if we remember, glucose is a sugar. In biology, anything that ends in an OSE, like glucose or lactose, is going to be a type of sugar. And photosynthesis has two parts. We have the light dependent reaction. And if something depends on something, it means it needs it. So the light dependent reaction needs light in order to happen. And then there's the light independent, and that does not need light. It doesn't mean it happens at night or in the dark. It happens during the day too. It just doesn't need light to happen. So where does photosynthesis take place? And it occurs in the chloroplast of plants. And we have a picture of a chloroplast on the right. Now remember, we're not looking at a cell. We're looking at an organelle. That's a part of the plant cell. That's one small part of the plant cell. It's got an outer membrane and an inner membrane. The fluid space within that chloroplast is called the stroma. That's at the top there. You see the arrow pointing down to that space inside. And the discs are like the solar panels that capture light. One disc is called a thylakoid, and a stack of discs are called a granum. So where do you think you would find a lot of chloroplasts? Well, I'll give you a clue. These thylakoids are all green. So what part of the plant is green? Leaves. So leaves increase the surface area. So there's a lot more leaves that can capture sunlight than just like the limbs of the tree. So by having a lot of leaves, they can increase the surface area so that plants can make a lot of sugar. And then the surface area is also increased by having the stacks of membranes inside the chloroplast. That's why those granum, many thylakoids make a granum, and that increases the surface area as well. So plants use sunlight to make sugar, but they only use certain colors. In fact, they use pretty much purple and blues. They don't use the greens so much, a little bit of the yellows, but more oranges and reds again. So if they're not using the green parts, that's why they appear green to us, because they are absorbing all the other colors, but not green. So they are reflecting green, and that's what our eyes see. We see that green because they're not using that green light. Okay, the photosynthesis equation, you do need to know these parts. Carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight equal sugar and oxygen. And remember, plants and forests and all that, they take in all that carbon dioxide that we breathe out. So that's a good thing that they're using that carbon dioxide. Without them, we wouldn't have any oxygen, because when they take in that water and sunlight, they get their sugar that they get to use for energy, and they release that oxygen into the air that we get to breathe. All right, steps to photosynthesis. We're going to talk about the light-dependent reaction, and I'm about to get cut off from the Screencastify, so we'll be right back.